So welcome everyone to today's talk. The title is Farming and Agribusiness. It is the 16th talk of a series targeting to promote agrobiotechnology and enhance understanding of the potential application of agricultural products. We hope the series will inspire international scholars, researchers, farmers, and business in the agricultural field, as well as the interested public. First, let me introduce our speaker, Mr. Miguel Lee Chang. He's raised in Hong Kong and migrated to Panama in 1972 to join his family farming business by running up to 1,200 hectares of petty rice. He is the co-founder of GLCH in 1977 and has been chairing it. He has involved in reforestation of over 200,000 trees for timber of different species, both exotics and native. He is currently active in cattle farming, oil palm, plantation, rice mill, grains distribution, finance on farming related operations, and nature conservation. In the following presentation, Farming and Agribusiness, he is going to share his experience on how to start and run an agribusiness, the main risks and compensations, the future of farming, as well as the social role of food security. Now, please welcome Miguel to the floor. Miguel, please. Miguel, you can start sharing your screen.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, today we're going to share with you some perceptions that I have about farming and agribusiness. And thank you very much for Dr. Lam, who provides this opportunity, and also the effort offered by Joanna to organize this event. So about farming and agribusiness, today we have a presentation composed of 7 points. The first one is agriculture and human civilization. The second point is the future of farming. Third one is the role of social responsibilities. The fourth one is how to start and run agribusiness. The fifth is the road that leads to success. The sixth one is the cluster of agritourism. I would like to focus a little bit on agritourism today, because as agribusiness is related, the area is too huge to be covered, and there are things that I don't know either. So I prefer to concentrate a little bit on agritourism. And the last point is the main risk and the main perks. So to begin with, we'd like to know the relationship between agriculture and human civilization. Well, in this chart, we can see that practically all economic activities that we are involved in one way or another come from agriculture. So being agriculture the main input, as we can see in this diagram, there comes the production with the machineries, the processing and distribution with vehicle drivers, gas, etc. Then come the marketing, and then the consumer, either in home or in restaurants. But in between, there are many other elements involved in the food chain or the agribusiness. For instance, from the beginning with the farmer, So there are some kind of activities related directly, like storages, like transportation, fertilizer, water. Inclusively, there are a lot of brokers in between, exportation, importation, many people involved in the business of different area related and generated by agriculture. And even in the intellectual or academic level, more and more universities are providing very specialized topics to be studied in order to improve the the outcomes of the agricultural business. Farming actually is a primary economy of a human being that dated thousands of years ago, and the main products that come out from from farming are the famous 5 F's that are shown here in this image. They are the food, the fodder, the fuel, the fiber, and pharmaceuticals. So they're mainly the five products that farmers are in charge to produce since the very beginning of the existence of human being. So food is the most impressive image that we have to relate with the farmers. All kind of food, and also the vegetations, both for animals and human necessities. So the fuel for fire, for generate energy, for the household, for the industries, and the fiber for textiles and for structures, for building houses and furnitures, etc., etc. And farming also produces medications of different kind. Well, to the curiosity of some people, in Western culture, we go to doctors only when we are sick. We don't feel well. But in the Asian culture, especially in the Chinese culture, as the Chinese traditional medicine are concerned, we go to the doctor. I mean the Chinese people, go to the doctor without being sick. We go to visit the doctor to prevent any possible risk of being sick, and inclusively we can take medicines which are mainly vegetable materials to regulate the functioning of our body. So it's a different concept. So in conclusion, the food we eat daily, we name it vegetable, plants, or some kind of meat, are in a way or another medication to provide a better functioning of our body. And farming has also another important function, that is to generate the well-being for man and to improve the distribution of the economy of the people. Well, now let's take a look at the future of farming. Well, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what is going to happen, but these are the presumption and perception that I have, and I would like to share with you. To begin with, the commodities will keep on dominating the farming industry. And the traditional farmers will keep on being crucial in the food production. We are going into a deeper level of the era of green farming. We need to restore the nature by having a precision farming. And the generation of to relate the farming industry is another important issue. As we can see here, the commodities mainly composed of, in this case, maize, rice, and wheat will keep on dominating the farming industry. As we see in this map, in the case of Asia, actually we consume mainly rice and wheat. In America, as far as I know, we consume a lot of rice and maize and wheat, So these are the main components of the farming production in the future. And that means that there will be bigger market shares for commercial farmings. Unfortunately, and very naturally, the traditional farmings will keep on playing a very crucial role for the human food chain supply. The green era of farming is going into a deeper level. Our future depends not on other people, it's on ourselves. We need to be more conscious about the necessity to have a greener farming. Well, after so many years of development in economy and industry and technology, we have been consuming a lot of natural resources. That now is our turn to restore our nature by implementing precision farming, beginning from the soil, from the water, from fertilizer, from minerals, from the temperature, the energy that we consume for farming, the gas that the plants emit and absorb. So we need to measure with the help of technology in order not to waste our resources to produce food. So the general relay is a very important issue because traditional farmers are getting older. Many have been retiring, some have passed away. And then we need to replace those farmers and farm workers by introducing the farming concept to the new generation. As we said some moments ago, that farming is part of the human civilization. It doesn't seem to me that it's too young for anyone to start involving. Just like instead of learning to play piano, learning to play golf, learning to be more academically prepared, we should start promoting the involvement of young people in the farming industry. So some of the social responsibility that the farmers play and have to take under consideration is the first one: the population of the world is growing, and there's a confusion that some people have between soil and dirt. There's another culture and necessity for the society to accept a diet of vegetables. We are going to have healthier food because the the economic position of people getting better, and we're trying to have a better life, a healthier life. So we need food that can help us to live longer and live better. And once again, I would like to emphasize the necessity to reduce the food waste. Well, if we can see in this diagram that shows that the people in the world is increasing, the population is growing, and that means not necessarily a bad message, but a good message, because as farm industry is concerned, we will have a bigger market, more people are in need of food, more food. If you can see this diagram, America is represented in such a way that it is disconnected in the center, right? And in the center, in this area. And well, it is exactly where Panama is, where I am at this moment. And since 50 years ago, as a matter of fact, America is disconnected by the Canal of Panama, which is about 50 miles long, that connects both oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific. And in the practice, America is disconnected, is separated, like how it is shown here. So that is another issue not related to agriculture, but geography. Many people that I've been meeting with, they don't have a sense of soil, but dirt. So that's a very negative image and perception of this very important and fundamental material to produce food that we consume every single day since we were born. We have to be conscious that without soil, we won't have food anyway. And most probably, we are the only planet that soil is found in this whole planet. So we should feel comfortable, we should feel fortunate, and we should have the synergy and a positive acceptance of soil. Because I, as a farmer, I like the smell of soil. It is very, very, a very wonderful experience to smell the soil, to touch the soil, to walk in the soil, to work with the soil. So veggie diets should be an issue to be promoted. It sounds to be very difficult, but probably not. We have to start trying, because we think that we can adapt to that change. But mankind is so intelligent, and we have the ability to adapt big changes along our history. Only with the remark that we cannot go too fast, we can go slowly. For instance, there are some examples that people think that we cannot quit smoking. When some governments started to ban smoking in public, people rejected and were very reluctant to accept. But well, little by little, we started accepting that, we started adapting that. And nowadays, 30 years later, we can see people who smoke neither in public nor in private. The same thing happened with the law that doesn't allow people to drive after drinking. We used to drive after drinking, And then little by little, we start adapting. So that's the same thing. We need to adapt ourselves with a more vegetable composed diet. And nowadays, no one can imagine 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that we can manage to live daily with a mask on. So it's something we cannot imagine, but with the time we need to adapt and we accept. And people should be conscious that it is much more costly and demanding as environmentally speaking, 30 times more to produce protein from meat than protein from plants. Many people think, including myself, that we cannot live well without meat. And I found that I was wrong when a son of a friend who is a basketball player, and he started rejecting meat consumption since he was a kid. And that means that we don't need really meat protein to be healthy. So we can substitute or replace the meat protein by the vegetable or plant proteins. We have to start also serving ourselves, either we have to pay or not, only what we can eat. We need to have a bigger conscience, and we have to serve a smaller portion. The fact of reduction of food waste is a daily necessity, because as the population grows, there are always more people who are in need of food. So once again, we should only serve the amount of food that we can eat without throwing them away, by keeping other people from having food to survive in many countries. We are going into also a society of with more ecological concept, and that we need a little help, not from a friend, not from someone else, but we need help from ourselves. We need to participate, we need to involve, and we need to contribute. We have to eat better, and we have to eat healthier. We have to promote cooking more at home. We need to incentivize more plant-based diets. We need to look into the seas and oceans for alternatives of food. And also we have the duty to sustain the food chain that provide every kind of food that we have been consuming. Well, local food is supposed to be biologic, more healthy, and is better because it's fresher. And also we can contribute to the local economy. Let's try to promote more cooking at home. And cooking at home, eating at home is more cozy and less costly. Well, it is not easy to cook at home in all family and in all cases, because in the case of Hong Kong, for instance, where the houses are very tiny and the room available is limited, and people in Hong Kong used to think that it is not easy, probably is not now either, to cook at home. But because of the pandemic situation, we are obliged to cook more at home, and we may have found that it is possible. But that is more ecological for the entire society and also for the farming industry. We need to look for alternative source for food from other area. In this case, we have considered from the sea, from the river, and from the ocean. And we should be conscious that over 2/3 of the surface of the world is covered with water. And that means, in theory, that the foods available from the sea, from the water, is double the amount of food that can be produced from the farmlands. To sustain the food chain is not a duty only of the farmer. It's the duty of all of us, every one of us, without limitation of where we live, without limitation of age. It's a mission of the whole human being community on this planet. The sorrow arises, and we hope that it won't happen only when the farmers vanish. So we have to do our best to support the farmers who provide the food for all of us. Well, now let's go and see how to start and run an agritourism. As I mentioned at the beginning, agribusiness is so vast that includes so many topics that I really don't know, and it takes also probably years to cover. So today, let's share some moments to mention about the agritourism aspect as a business. Well, as a business, we need to do some researches to make a plan, to define our niche. We have to be innovative, creative, and be flexible. We need to find a piece of land. The piece of land should not be big. It depends on how we're planning to run the business. And we have to start moving on without desperation. We need to be calm, take a step at a time. While we are trying to turn farming into a business. Well, because why should I say we're trying to turn it into business? Because traditionally, many farmers, they do the farming as a subsisting activity, and some of them as a hobby. They don't make much money because they don't have the focus of a business on the activities. So we have to start to do a business plan, what we do, how to do, with whom we're going to do. And we need a piece of land that is appropriate for the plan that we have made. Again, the land don't have to be big. It doesn't have to be big. It depends on what we're going to do. So we need to consider if we need water or not. We need to be in the lowland or the highland. We need the land to be flat, or we need the land to have topography a little bit accidental, whatever. So there are things I have to consider. We can start small. We don't have to think starting big. Nobody was born being big. We all were born as a baby. The advantage is the probability to grow is huge, so opportunities are unlimited, and we don't have to be desperate to grow a business. We have to consider about the private branding instead of selling the product without any brand that don't identify our production. As a matter of fact, many farms in the world don't even have a sign that the farms have no brands and the products have no brands. No? So it's a matter of business behavior and necessity to identify our products with a brand. The impact of packaging and also the presentation. Well, these bottles contain coffee with a very different presentation that obviously provide an added value and that generates a better profit for the farmers. We need to promote our products. We need to have an agenda of promotions for different occasions. And in order to turn over our inventory in a more efficient way, the way that leads to success, you know, all roads lead to Roma. Again, business is business. We have to maintain the concept very well focused. We need to keep the gate open, keep our eyes open. We need database and marketing calendar. We need the differentiation. That is the key to success. We need to have added value and customer service. We need to exceed the expectation of our customers. Well, as a farm, we need to keep the gate open and let the people feel as if they were at home, just like the department store, the restaurants, all kind of business. They keep the door open, right? Farmers are a bit different. We maintain the gate closed, so that doesn't offer a friendly image for the customers or possible customers, the prospective visitors. So the first thing to do to change the concept, to change your mind, to have an open door policy, everyone's welcome. We need to know our customers. We need the database and the market calendar. What do we mean by knowing our customers? Well, we need to know the name, and we need to know where they live, what they need, if they belong to some kind of relation that has to do with the food that they consume, how many people live there, as old people, young people, right? So we need to know all these information in order to offer better service to our customers. And by knowing the customer, we can establish a better agenda to promote our products and very well focused direct to those customers. We need to be different from other farmers. The differentiation with, for instance, not traditional products, organic farming or medicinal products. I remember some times ago, I was exploring the not traditional products with a friend who is also very fond of agriculture. And among the list, we found a product named that everyone knows, everyone consumes quite frequently. It is vanilla. Vanilla that produced mainly in ice creams. I was so surprised to know that 97% of vanilla produced in the world are artificial. Only 3% are natural. And vanilla is a plant grown well in the tropic. And it is easy to grow. So the extract of vanilla to produce food is very expensive. And it is called, or it is referred as the vegetable silver, something like that. So we need to run a business as a business, but not as a hobby, and not as a job of subsistence. Differentiation can be presented through concept, right? We present a food for brain, we present a food for the bone, for the skin. We present food by grouping in vitamins and different kind of concept that make the difference between our product, our surface, to other people. We can present differences in the benefits that we offer, being fresh, being fast. And the added value is another concept that we need to consider. Instead of offering a mango, a simple mango, we can offer mango juice that bears an added value. So instead of selling a mango for $1, we can offer a mango juice for $2, $3. So that's the way how to increase our income and increase our profit. Well, these mangoes that many of you may know and have seen and have tried, this mango are produced mainly in Japan. I remember that once I was in a farm in Hokkaido, I was so impressed by that farm that it seems to me a museum. They have about 10 cabins offered to people from different universities and institutions to carry out researches on farming procedure and products. Well, being a place with a long period of winter time with snow, they have greenhouses that produce tropical fruits. And what I saw on that visit, among other products, were banana, pineapple, passion fruit, and mangoes. But as courtesy, I was given one of these mangoes, and it came in a wooden box and with a birth certificate, very well presented. And when I was told that it cost $100 each, I couldn't believe it. So the day after, I went to the supermarket to find out how wrong I was. And I found out that I was wrong. It didn't cost, I found I was right because it didn't cost $100 each, but $200 for a box of 2 mangoes. So they are not sold one by one, but in a box of 2. So that makes a difference, the consistency of quality. And that's the title of this slide that says we have to delight our customers by exceeding the expectations. I also remember another experience I have in a restaurant, and we were a group of probably 10 people seated in the restaurant. And before having lunch, I was going to take a pill, and a waitress came up with a cup of warm water for me to take the medicine. I was so amazed that she was paying so much attention on the clients that she came up with a glass of water for someone who who was going to take a pill, a medicine, where in that restaurant, they may have probably 300 people, 500 people. So that is how to exceed the expectation of our customers. Our customer may be too busy, but we should be on call around the clock. We should not be busy as they are. Well, something happens to all of us that we go to a restaurant, we go to a department store, we travel, whatever. It is not usual. It's still not usual that every one of those commercial establishments remember our existence. So they never call, they never ask, they never are in touch. So that is something that we can do a little bit better, to be in touch with our customer, to make them know that we are conscious about their existence. We care about their business. And now we're trying to go into a little bit about the cluster of agritourism. Excuse me. That we can build up a series of activities as a cluster based on a farm, even a small farm. And the principle is to promote the sharing. We share what we have in the farm, from the farm. So the agritourism is a concept to share the joy of sowing and harvesting, and the fascination of the freshness of the nature and the produce, the passion of being in the nature, the satisfaction of transferring our knowledge, and the pleasure of contributing. Well, to begin with, we have to welcome the people who come to our farm. Again, it doesn't need to be a big piece of farm. So people like to be in the farm with the gate being open, have them welcome in, and people can take a walk, can take a meal, can stay overnight, can stay for a week. So it depends the facility that we manage to offer to the people who visit the farms. The people who can come early and they don't want to do anything, okay, do nothing. They simply enjoy the pleasure to be rocking on the chair. So people can come in, they help themselves to pick the produce and take their share to enjoy the pleasure of farming. And as a business, we can also offer special treats for family packages. You can mention as discount, you can offer something additional, a bonus, whatever. A VIP ride that needs no ticket at all, and all ages of people are welcome abroad. While being in the farm, we can offer people a lunch in the farm, in the middle of nowhere, and that brings all of the people to our childhood, or to their respective childhood, and that is not a memorable picnic, but their memorable picnic, the only one, right, in their life. There have been many, but this is a special one in the farm. And with this, we can transfer our produce from the farm directly to the table of the people. And we can also complement with other products from the neighboring farmers, from other people who can produce farming products to be consumed fresh and directly by the people. As we said in the beginning, farming is a primary economy that we can simply send the produce from the farm to the plate instead of to the supermarket. That's a long way from a farm. So as we said, we produce vegetable for mankind and for animals. You see this image, this in the morning, it's a bit hazy. So that's priceless to be there in the morning to start harvesting, to share the pleasure of being part of that procedure. Well, healthy food, to prevent diseases, to prevent being sick, to improve the functioning of our body by consuming healthy food. We can provide in agritourism people to stay in our farm. We can have cabins, we can have condos, we can have camping facilities. And well, you can see here, it's not a luxurious accommodation facility, but there are many people who love that or looking for that. And it is not a 5-star hotel, but it is a camping experience with a companion of thousands of stars that we can see in the sky. So that's priceless. Farming also produces fiber, as we said in the beginning. So we can offer a t-shirt to our clients. We don't necessarily have to sell a t-shirt to the people. So we can create something as part of the customer service. Give them a t-shirt, it doesn't cost much. The cost of the t-shirt may be $1, $2. People sell it for 10, for 15. And then we can give them as a souvenir, as a bonus, so that instead of spending money in advertisement in different mediums, we can make use of this to promote our farming business or our agri-tourism business. The bottom line focus is to avoid winding roads. We have to shorten the distance to turn farming into a business, again, into business. To shorten the distance of the distribution chain, we have to look for the direct sales to the customers. We need to innovate the customer service. We have to offer more than our customer expects. Well, to run business, we have to be creative, innovative, and flexible. Eat all you can and for free. Well, how does that work? How it is possible? It is. I personally have an experience in an apple farm, and I was offered to eat all I could and for free. Well, I was so illusioned on that day that I went to the farm. I had the illusion that I was going to eat 5 to 10 apples without paying a single penny. And when I was in the farm, I didn't look for the smaller apple, but the biggest apples. I took a big apple. And I could not finish even half of the apple, and I was full. So how much that have cost the farm to attract me as a customer to be in the farm? Probably a penny, probably a nickel, probably a dime, I don't think so. Probably a few pennies. But I ended up buying 2 bags of apple from them in the farm. So that's the way how they make the profit. So we have to start giving in order to receive. So in the nature, in the farm, we have more than enough to be shared. In order to shorten the chain, we have to go straight into the marketplace, where people can go, consumer can go, and purchase the products. I remember last time when we shared the presentation about farming, there's a friend who participated. It seemed that he was Dr. Chang, who raised a question about how we can provide a better life for farmers by eliminating so many people in between. That's totally true, because the more people there are, the more overhead there are, and the profit will be spreaded in a thinner way. So shortening the distance is critical, is very critical to improve the income. So we need to establish alliances with cooperative clients in order to provide our products. Well, let's say we can have a commercial relationship with schools, with local restaurants, with the school canteens, as I mentioned, with clinics, hospitals, and also families. So we can have a list of clients to whom we can produce and supply them our produce in a direct way. Well, the shortest distance between 2 points is not necessarily a strict line, but on-site, fresh and right away. We don't have to move. People come in and they purchase the products. We don't have to deliver, we don't have to transport, we don't have to cover any additional cost in marketing. Instead of limiting ourselves to offer food, we have to change our mindset to offer fun, joy, satisfaction, and most important, memory. The memory that they have been in our farm and that motivate them to come back, not only on their own, but to bring more people in, to bring our business. We have also to offer more than our client expect. There's never too much to pamper. So if you deliver something that people don't expect, right? We gave them a t-shirt as a bonus. That's something that people don't expect. We can offer them to eat whatever they can without paying. That's something people don't expect. So we can try a little bit further to offer other concepts like farm tours, having open houses to bring people in, to have educational tours. We can speak to the schools, local schools, usually primary school in the countryside where the farms are, to start lecturing from time to time outside the classroom. So the tourism industry is growing in the countryside by just sharing the beauty of the nature. Well, we also create harmony by offering accommodation, a peaceful environment. When the people stay once, they will come back and stay twice, and once after another. Our duty is to boost the joy, and then we can increase our profits. Well, the last topic is about the main risks and the main perks, the compensations. The main risks for me are the right planning and the constant adjustments. We have to watch closely the outcomes in the financial sheets. And the biggest risk for me is not making up our mind and keep on considering years after year. And that's dangerous. The main perks for me are the pleasure to create and share, the satisfaction to be financially independent, well, we have to set up a plan to run the business, how we're going to run, where, why, who. So the same questions as usual. We have to watch closely to the outcomes of our performance. Agribusiness is rewarding, and it can pass from one generation to another without going into the big cities where the lives are more stressful. It's a commitment, a lifelong commitment. So we have to make up our decision in order to find out if we want to be integrated with the nature forever. The farmer of next generation are new faces for this old profession, because farmers getting older, young people are not interested to get involved, and then we may have a serious problem to sustain the food chain that we depend on. Young people are coming in with new knowledge, with new mentality, with new technology. So we can go towards the future by backing up to basic. We don't need too much luxurious products. We don't need necessarily working in the office. We don't necessarily to be a financial manager. A different kind of activity in the farm that we can start involving and turn it into a business. The new generation have to show with passion, with the compromise to develop the farming business and to be profitable. So the limit is not the age, but the mindset of each person. We have to try pushing the fun to beyond infinity. Fun is when we don't find our job as a job, but something that we enjoy. So the worst decision is the one that is not made ever. All of us have to take the share of responsibility and by making up our mind and being innovative. Well, the future of agribusiness, for me, including the agritourism, is the beginning of another chapter of the human life. Well, once again, thank you for sharing your time. And farmer is as much more important than many people think. Without farmer, we won't have food anymore. So thank you very much, Joanna, for your support, and Dr. Lam for your invitation. Thank you very much. And all the people who are synchronizing. And it's a pleasure for me to have the chance to share this perception with you. And if any interaction that you would like to have, I'll be more happy to participate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I can hear a lot of birds and the rooster song from your side. So you're very early morning, right? So the birds just come out to find food.
Oh yeah. I have birds in the patio. I have roses.
Yeah, so I guess before we move on to the Q&A session, so I suggest that we took a picture together with all the audience as usual. So may I invite everybody to turn on your camera so that we will take pictures. So Joanna will help us to take picture. So please turn on your camera. So Joanna, when you're ready, let me know, okay? Joanna, you're taking pictures?
Okay, there are some more people turning on their camera.
Okay, all right.
So we can wait for a little bit.
Okay. Yep, please turn on your camera so that we can see each other.
Okay, ready. Please look at the camera. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joanna. So, well, I guess this talk is quite interesting because they go into real business. And if you have some lands that you can build a farm. So in addition to the regular farming practice that you produce some primary products to sell to the market and then let it join the food chain. So McGill has suggested another way that you can reach your customer. You can add value by even providing a tour, some new experience for your customer in the farms. I guess this is a very interesting approach for new agriculture and engage the customer and also provide opportunity for the young generation to continue agriculture with a different perspective. So I will open the floor for the audience to ask him questions. So if you have difficulties of using your microphone, you can type in the questions through the chat box. Okay, so who would like to ask a question, please feel free to unmute yourself and talk. So DI Farms. Okay, so do you want me to read your questions or you can unmute yourself and talk?
Thank you, Prof. Very much. I don't know if everybody can hear me well. My background won't be so much welcoming. Not in a very good position, but I had forced to attend this topic today. My name is CCP Watingana. I'm attending this from South Africa. I am working as a research assistant for University of Western Cape under the management of Professor Ludwig. It is a very good opportunity to work as a research assistant for the university because I work closely with the postgraduate students who do their research on crops. And that gave me an opportunity to see a need to decentralize the information being unpacked by the students to the communities so that they can be able to produce their own food. And then I started my small farming practice where I am targeting to cluster many small holding farmers in the Eastern Cape here in South Africa so that they can be able to produce their own food and maybe take it to the market. But there are so many challenges into the line of doing that. One of them is to be able to come up with suitable inputs so that we can be able to work the land. And I just heard the speaker speak of the fact that it is a physical work, trainers, and we also try to do the same thing. We try to produce food harmoniously and organically try to understand the biodiversity of the whole land. That makes us to minimize synthetic applications and the use of many machineries, which even if you wanted to use, won't be able to afford. But now my worry most times that are there any international mentorship programs to the agribusiness? Because you will find that many of the local farmers I work with, they work only to sustain themselves. Now, most of us don't skills and ways to change the sustainability in farming into the agribusiness and change farming to business. We need new, better skills. We need a better inputs so that we can be able to do that. Hence, my question is there international mentorship that probably we can open a very good relationship between RCA in South Africa to that side of the world, and you see how we can learn how things are done in that side. We probably can transcend them to this side and also share the ideas and information. Thank you so much.
Okay, so Miguel, you want to share further?
Yeah, because of some technical issue, there was a lot of echo that I couldn't capture well enough. The question, would you join or you repeat the question, please?
Can you briefly repeat your question so that Miguel can give further information? Or you can, if you can type into, yeah.
My question is Honorable Miguel has the international mentorship programs,
Okay,
where we can be able to be mentors as the farmers decide. What I was explaining to him is that I've started a small business farming here in South Africa, where I want to cluster many small business farmers who mainly farm to sustain their homes. But we don't have an idea and ways to convert the sustainable farming into the actual agribusiness.
Okay, let me try to rephrase your questions to Miguel, right? So he is a subsistence farmer with small farms, and there are many of those small farms in South Africa. So they have lands, but they just want to know how they can reach some mentorship program. Somebody can give them help how to do it, because they lack experience of building farms. So I think that is his main question. So any way that they can receive mentorship so that they can run their farms efficiently and really increasing the income.
Yeah, I think it is a very general situation in the world that farmers traditionally don't make much profit. It is as a kind of subsistence. And I personally have a very good experience with organizations that offer consultancy for free from different developed countries. Africa is something similar to Latin America. We are still in a way of development, and then we are qualified to be assisted by those people. I suggest you could go into the internet or the local government or some embassy in your country to find for some technical and program assistances. I can mention about Canada. They have people. United States probably Hong Kong may have some organization that are capable, technical and financially, to help people who are in these situations. In Europe, I'm sure that there are several countries that are capable and willing to do those missions. In my case, I have been assisted in 3 occasions from people sent from Holland all the way to Panama without any charge, no cost at all, nothing at all. They cover all the expenses. And I have been very well benefited by those assistances. So the answer is start from the embassy, the local embassies of other countries. They should have different programs to help people who are in need, not only to develop the business, but to produce food in a more efficient way.
Okay, so it's important information. So I hope that, yeah, so I think South Africa has embassies of many countries. So those are good starts, right? So talk to them first. So maybe some Europe countries, such as Holland, right? Is the Holland send people to help McGill 3 times without charge? Well, that's a good deal. Somebody come and help you without asking you for a penny. So I hope that it will help our friends in South Africa a bit. Okay. All right. So I think Albert has 3 questions. All right. So maybe one at a time so that McGill can answer it one by one. So Albert, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes. So McGill, thank you very much. Happy New Year. And my first question is about urban farming. So your whole theme ties very well. Right? I live in New York City. So urban farming. So we have all these little pockets, and how do we really touch the nature? So I want to hear your outlook about urban farming. The second thing is that I got so many questions because I'm learning all this TCM and everything about traditional Chinese medicine, about how the food, medicine, and everything in connection with COVID. I have been infected by COVID in 2020. So how's the farming touch these COVID, Omicron, and everything? And so that's my second question. And third, which is actually something that I care very much. Since I live in the United States, and the United States are always looking at farming and farmer as a burden. So every year, the federal, the state, the city, everybody's trying to have the farmer. And so I was touched a lot by all your slides about all the generations. But from the Americans' perspective about farming is that we don't care. We have to give them a lot of money. So what is your outlook? And indeed, I talk with a lot of ESG because I'm at a stage that I want to really come back and try to benefit mankind and all that sort of stuff. And then so that's the reason why your PPT is so important to me, and how the ESG and how is the US farming and so on. And you mentioned about the word fresh at least 5 times. I definitely, I enjoy the process, but my lovely wife is from Texas. So the Texas, and my oldest boy, my daughter is very vegetarian. Christopher, my oldest boy, no meat, no meal. So how would I be able to, looking at that perspective, be able to help it? So I know it's very complicated. I start with the urban farming, which everybody care. And so this is my 3 tiers, and then you can choose your pick.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Albert, for your questions and your participation. And I've noticed that you have been very active, cooperating and participating in this program. I think that's what all of us should do with Dr. Lam and Joanna and the team, in order that this can be running day after day and year after year. Yeah, farming indeed is a very, very intimate relationship with human being. And people in city can also do the farming in different scale. You know, instead of planting flowers in the balcony, people may start to change the concept by switching flowers or decorative plants to eatable plants, right? And people have on the rooftop, they can do some also gardening It's a matter of mindset to change the way how we can start evolving a little bit more on, well, not exactly farming, but to produce food and vegetations. So well, let's say the people in Hong Kong also have similar situation of the limitation of space. And I've noticed that they have been making a better use of the available spaces, even in the car park area, to start planting different kind of foods and mainly foods and not any flowers anymore. So I think is probably it comes to mind at this moment that people can organize a committee in a building, in the same building or in the housing compound to promote this kind of activities, right? Changing the mindset of the people. The Chinese traditional medicine, obviously, as we have been reading in some articles in different media, they do have been recommending some kind of ingredient that can reinforce our body immunity to minimize the attack of not only COVID, but different kind of diseases. And in Panama, for instance, I have a friend who's a doctor, a Chinese doctor, a doctor who also studied in Beijing. And he does have recommended a formula of composed of basic ingredients like onion, like garlic, something like that. So at the end of the story, I think we can find out a proper formula of ingredients that can help us to reinforce our capacity against different kind of natural risk, like COVID or whatever, right? So that brings out the importance of the food that doesn't have the only function to fill up our stomach, but as Chinese think, or many people think, not only the Chinese people, that we are what we eat. So the example that you raised up with the kids are excellent. So it doesn't mean that the more meat people eat, the better health they have. No, that's not a direct proportion, right? Yeah, and then about the financial issue, Albert, it is a dilemma during all the existence of the farming activity. Farmers are so limited. They don't have an easy access to technology, not even to communication. So you have many information because you have the facility to capture those information. People send you information, but people in the farm, we don't have so many facilities, and especially people in developing countries. They're very limited in everything. So that's why even in the United States nowadays, as you mentioned, any country, all country, and we need a lot of financial support and incentive from the government. Well, for instance, in Panama, we have a special interest rate for the loans for farmers, right? We have a special treatment to repay our loans. And then again, we have to look into how to structure the outcome of the farmers, how to increase our profits, and to prepare better farmer for the future. Because the traditional farmers, and probably I'm one of them also, we have stuck to the old book. So we just repeat doing the same thing every day when we wake up, without updating our knowledge, without updating our technology. So there are different elements that we have to do. The most important thing is we have identified them, and now we have looked for the solutions collectively.
Okay, thank you, Miguel. So I can see a friend who loves trees, right? So George, I can see him here. So I heard that you have planted 200,000 trees. Why you do that? I mean, you're running a farm, right? So why do you do the tree planting?
That's an interesting question that people always ask. Why have you been so foolish to involve yourself in the activity that doesn't provide profit at all, right?
Yeah, because I think this is important to let other people who want to build a farm to know why it is also important to do this kind of conservation while you are exploring lands for farms. So in your experience, why do you choose to plant so many trees?
Well, probably my formation, being a child in Hong Kong, in a city, a big city, very densely populated, a high density of people. I tried to contribute a little bit with the nature. So I started with the forestry activity some 35 years ago. So I started with pines, with eucalyptus, with cypresses, and then when I switched to some native species that are hardwood. And little by little, I could sense that the result was very, not only compromising, but very, very pleasant. You know, when one sees how the trees grow, one has the feeling of the trees as if the kids that one start raising. And then the environment that one creates for the environment. And then financially it is profitable on the long run. But it is an activity that not many people as individual can have the vision or the capacity to run, because when you start, you have to go on and keep going on to maintain the plantation that requires a lot of cash flow. So luckily, I could get the source of finance the project, but many people may have the idea to plant trees, but taking a step backwards, if people want to do that, we can do with 2 trees, 5 trees. We don't have to do 100,000, 200,000, a million trees, right? So the amount of tree, no matter how many, is a kind of contribution to the environment, and sorry, and to strengthen the food chain in general for the human being.
Okay, thank you, Miguel. Is there any further questions from the floor? So if not, then it's the time for some advertisement. So thank you, Miguel, for giving this talk. Thank you, everyone's active participation and discussion. Our next talk in March will be soybean cultivation, production, and quality assurance by Dr. Joanna Chan. She actually gave the first talk from crop to favor at the beginning of this series. Now it comes her second talk. This talk will cover recent soybean production status in the world, the impacting elements that can affect soybean cultivation and production efficiency, as well as the international and national soybean seed quality related regulation, testing, certification, and labeling system. Now, so We have two Joanna here. So Joanna, not Dr. Chan, could you show the poster so that the audience can know who's talking, the topic, and the QR code? Okay, so hopefully I will see you again next month, and certainly we're expecting Dr. Joanna Chan to give another excellent talk. The first talk is very well received by many people. I can see people still visiting our website to revisit her talk. So I'm looking forward for Dr. Joanna Chan's second talk. Okay, so with that, I guess it's time to say goodbye for now and be healthy, everybody, in the time of COVID-19. So see you and bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.